Hello punters and welcome back to another Saturday racing preview. Of course, in this video looking at the Rosehill meeting on Saturday. Really looking forward to it. Just as much as the Sir John Monash Stakes at Caulfield. So if you've never already done so, go and check out that video as well, or you can even do so after this one. So keep an eye out for that. If you've never already done so as well, go check out my social media pages. Give this video a like and comment down below to let me know of any of your thoughts ahead of tomorrow, and we can obviously have a good discussion. I always enjoy that down below. So without further ado, we're going to get straight into Rosehill tomorrow. It's soft six track at the moment, which is great to see because we have seen a lot of heavy tracks at Sydney the last couple of weeks. So really glad to see it back into the soft range, and hopefully we can get a really firm track soon enough leading into the spring. I'm sure we will. Race number one, the program is for the 2-year-olds, and looking at the Darley handicap over 1100 metres. Speed map for this race here, I'd suggest that Abel Hill, Tight Ropes, Thudson, and Lady Barnes will be the speed factors in this race here. They'll all roll forward and get up towards the pace. Not sure what North Pacific will do off the inside barrier. Horse that obviously usually did get back in its debut performance at Rosehill. Suggests that maybe it might want to be a little bit more positive out the gates and get towards the front. Look, I'm going to go with against the favourite here. I think number 4, Miss Canada, represents plenty of value for Chris Lees and Brent Abdallah in the saddle, who he's in terrific form at the moment, as is Chris Lees racing. So it's also looking back through its form. Third before it went on break behind Forbidden Love reads really nicely. So I think this horse is going to run a good race here first up, as the 2 trials leading have been quite sharp. I've liked those, and it's a horse that obviously has run well on a wet track before, a soft track, so that provides plenty of confidence for me, and I think it can run a bold race first up. It's going to be able to just sit in behind that speed and potentially finish over the top of them. So I thought $13 was just why I have the odds. So it goes on top for me. Head of number 2, North Pacific, who really has the genuine form and the elite form in this type of race here. Obviously, a third behind Farnan, who was the subsequent Golden Slipper winner, reads pretty well. So it's got to be a good chance for me. It's trialled pretty nicely coming in. Just that one trial at Rosehill behind the face was quite good. Really good, sharp bit of work. I think 250 first up is just a bit short about a horse that's going to be getting back in the field. So not saying it doesn't have a good chance. I do think it does. That's why it's my second pick. I just think the 240 is a little bit short. Sorry, 250. So it goes in for second. In for third, number 1 at Lady Banff, who won really well first up at Rosehill on the heavy track, beating Meadowland on that occasion. I thought that was a really good performance there. Comes in this second up. Has never run on a soft track before, but like I said, does have that win on a heavy, and the trial on the soft track leading into this, which was a little tick over trial done by Matt Dunn for this horse, was quite sharp, beat Sentimental on that occasion, and won that trial quite comfortably as well on a soft surface. So I'm confident this horse can run a good race as well. So she goes in for third. Then in for fourth, number 6, Sarah, who I was very keen on a couple of weeks ago at Kembla Grange. I put it in my Around the Tracks racing tips on my Instagram and Facebook pages, and it absolutely bolted it. It won with ease, and that was a real impressive performance on that occasion. In fact, just looking back, I think, not sure if that was on a Saturday. I think it was a Thursday meeting, but yes, that was a real impressive win. So if it could produce that type of performance again, she could definitely give this a bit of a shake at the $6.50 as well. So she goes in for fourth. Look, open race. That's why I've gone a little bit of value on top ahead with number 4, Miss Canada, on top for me, ahead of the real raging favourite, number 2, North Pacific, who I'm really looking forward to seeing go around and see basically how he's come back, and if he could show up to the type of form he produced in his third behind the subsequent Golden Slipper winner in Farnan. So he goes in for second. In for third, number 1, Lady Bampton. In for fourth, number 6, Sarah. Moving on to race number 2 on the program now, and it is the D. Bertoli Wines benchmark 78 over 2,000 metres. With the speed map here, tend to go around in this race. Monsieur Sisu, I'd suggest, will find the top as he usually does. Guys who won't be far off. Pirate Ben, my swashbuckler, will be up towards the pace as well, I'd suggest. Looking into this race here, obviously, look, I think 4 meters go to be the one to beat. Look, she was really good last time out, winning at Rosehill on the heavy track. She beat guys and won that race pretty comfortably, sailing down the outside, finishing over the top. It was a strong performance. So I think she'll get through the 2,000 meters just fine. She looks really well up to getting to that top this range, especially the way she went through the line last time out. She's in terrific form. She hasn't missed a place in her last five, obviously stretching across two preparations. I think she'll be hard to beat here again. She's at 270, which is probably short enough, but I do think she's got a really good chance. Ahead of number two, My Swashbuckler, who is third up here, so I think we're going to see a bit of improvement out of it. It was a good third last time out at Randwick behind Mr. Dependable and Agassi, which the form's been good out of that subsequent race. Obviously, Mr. Dependable failed, but Agassi won last week in the last Randwick, so the form is quite good there. And My Swashbuckler's horse, it's always been screaming out to get over the further distance. Gets out 2,000 metres here. I think we'll see plenty of improvement out of it. And it's been pretty strongly backed. It opened at $9.50. It's now $5.50 as well. So good bit of support there for about My Swashbuckler. I think it'll run a good race. In for third, I've got number three, New Arrangement, who continues to run a good race. I'm not sure if it's a winning chance here, but steps out at the 2,000 metres again. Last time it was at the 2,000, finished second at Randwick on a heavy track behind High Opinion, who's been racing in decent form as well. Like I said, it's a horse that just doesn't know how to run a bad race. So as an each way perspective, it's not bad, especially if you want to just put a place bet on it. I think he can run well again, and he goes in for third for me. And then aiming for fourth, number five, Guys. Got to give it a chance if I'm giving Full Meter on top a really good push. Obviously, it was beaten pretty comprehensive last time out. Only 1.3 lengths, but it looked like the Full Meter had a little bit on Guys there. But you never know. Look, Guys, like I said, $6.50 could run a good race again. I think it'll be right up towards the finish once again. So recap the numbers for me. Pretty keen on number 10, Full Meter on top. Ahead of number two, My Swashbuckler. In for third, number three, New Arrangement. In for fourth, I've got number five, Guys, but very confident on number 10, Full Meter in race number two. Moving on to race number three on the program now. It's the Tab Highway race over 1,400 metres, class three. Look at the speed map here. 17 of them to go around at this stage. Look at the speed map. I'd say Zacharitz, Roman, Gorish Lightning from barrier number 16 will try and get towards the pace. Star Live will be up towards the speed, as well as Hardyo out of barrier number 6. I suggest Mystic Splendor will try and utilise barrier number 1 to get pushed forward and be up towards the speed as well. So good speed battle early, and I think it could set up for a couple of these back markers here. And one of them, I think, who is a horse that I've always found hard to follow, number 8, Ronan's Rock, who it's just, look, and again, he was 6th last night behind Rothenberg. I think he can potentially turn the tables. Obviously, he's on a soft track this time around, which he hasn't really performed on. I think he's probably waiting to get back onto that good surface. But Cody Morgan's in very good form as a trainer at the moment. So I think that maybe he can get this horse up and about, and he can, if he can return back to the run he produced at Tamworth before the Rosehill Highway race last start, I think he can run really well here. And look, the thing is that they're going to roll along at a good tempo, and he's going to be sitting just off them and probably about midfield with a bit of cover. So I think he'll be able to potentially get his chance to run over the top of them. So he goes in on top for me. Head of number 2, Blazing Tycoon, is another one for Cody Morgan, and is obviously the market says the better chance, but I think is also a real good each way prospect. Second last time at Musclebook behind Cosmic Rain. A third prior to that at Scone over the 900 metres. So I think this horse can run well. And sorry, that was a tick over trial. Before that, I had 2 wins. So Blazing Tycoon's in very good form. It's had 3 starts so far for 2 wins and a second last. That obviously became last start. So I think Blazing Tycoon could run well enough and be right in the finish here again. Usually probably prefers a firmer surface, but I still think he'll run well enough on a soft track, as we saw last time out when it finished second at Musclebook. So it goes in for second. In for third, number 1, Rothenberg, who has been in good form. James McDowell obviously jumps off to service suspension at this stage. Jason Collett gets into the saddle. Barrier number 18 is a very tricky draw. So 460 for me. I'm not really keen to play it, but I do think he can run a good race again. So it goes in for third. And then in for fourth, I've got number 7, Chairman's Choice, who I also think can run a good race off the back of 2 seconds in its last 2 starts, both at Maria and Goulburn. It's a horse that, again, isn't fantastic on a wet surface, but I think it can run well enough here, so it goes in for fourth. But recap the numbers for me. Look, I'm going to go with Ronan's Rock. I think gets the best run in the race. Sometimes in these higher races, that's how you've got to play it, to see who's going to get the best run in the race. So I think that'll be Ronan's Rock. So it goes on top. For me, ahead of number 2, Blazing Tycoon. In for second, in for third, number 1, Rothenberg. And in for fourth, I've got number 7, Chairman's Choice. Moving on to race number 4 on the program now, and it is the Bowman's Com Furniture benchmark 74 over 1500 meters. Look at the speed map for this one here. I'd suggest that Frosty Rocks, Lewis, and Cafe Royale will be the speed factors of the race. They'll be able to roll forward off their barriers towards the middle of the barrier stalls. Whispered, I'd suggest, will try and potentially get in behind them from barrier number 4. Probably follow Frosty Rocks into a prominent position. And Academy is probably another one that I see up there towards the pace. And Academy is one I want to be with here. I think this horse got a real good chance. Comes off the second last lap behind Still Diamond on a heavy track at Rosehill. It's first ever place on a heavy track, which I was impressed with. Comes back to the soft surface, which it's had 2 starts for 2 wins on. I think we will see improvement for this horse as well. It's been absolutely terrific in its 2 starts so far this preparation since returning from a spell. Its win at Warwick Farm was really, really good. Couple of starts back. And look, it looked under the pump on the turn on that occasion and just continued to find. So I thought that was a really good win there. Sorry, hang on. No, it wasn't at Warwick Farm. Where was it? Yeah, sorry, that win came at Wyong, obviously, the first up win for Academy. But look, I think this horse is in great form. Robbie Doll in the saddle looks to get a really good run in the race. Obviously, very good on a soft surface. It's got to go on top for me, third up in this race. So, got Academy on top for me, ahead of number 1, Lewis, who I was very impressed with its first up win at Warwick Farm. I thought that was a good performance on a heavy track first up, and obviously comes in this now second up with Nash to keep in the ride. Had a good tick over trial in between that run and this one to I guess keep him worked over and nice and fresh. And paying $5.50, I think he's got a really good price. So he goes in for second. If third, number 2, Frosty Rocks, who was disappointing last time out as a $12.50 favourite, beaten by Still Diamond and Academy there. I'm not too sure how Frosty Rocks going to be able to turn the tables on Academy there. I thought Academy definitely had the measure of it. So potentially coming back to the soft track, but like I said, I think that suits Academy even better. So Frosty Rocks is probably a little bit unders at 460, or especially when Academy is 750, I think. So it goes in for third. Then even fourth, I want to make a case for number 11, Zing, who I think she's a filly really on the rise, and we'll be able to see a bit of into her form with Fulmina going around earlier on the program. And obviously Fulmina has come out and run pretty good races since it finished second to Zing at Warwick Farm, and Zing then came out and finished fourth behind Fulmina last start and run on pretty nicely from the back. So I think she can run well enough. Jason Collett gets the ride with Kara McAvoy jumping off. But look at this. So look, recap the numbers for me. I'm pretty keen to go with number 3, Academy here on top, ahead of number 1, Lewis, in for second. In for third, number 2, Frosty Rocks. In for fourth, number 11, Zing. Now, other chances in the race, I thought Cubics is a horse that's really in some good form and hasn't missed a top 3 place in the last 6 starts. So it's really in top form. And got to give a bit of respect to that. Sometimes just winning form's good form, and that's the same case of Viren as well, who's paying $14. Its last 2 wins at Hawkesbury, and especially the last on the Kensington track was quite impressive. So horse is a bit over the odds as well, and obviously Still Diamond, like I said, beat a couple of these horses last time out, including Academy and obviously Frosty Rocks. So it could also run a good race up, potentially being close to the speed with Sam Clippert in the stable. So very open race. Academy's on top for me though, coming back to the soft surface. Moving on to race number 5, and it's a round benchmark 78 over 1100 metres. Looking at the speed map here, I'd say Lillamore will find the top with Willow Heart not far off. Switched will probably be up towards the pace again. I suggest that'd be the main speed factor of the race, so I can't really see anything else getting up and applying a lot of pressure. Maybe our Dasher might push forward there and be up towards the pace as well. Be interested to see what Vada, Zanaya, and Hibiscus Lay. They usually like to roll forward. I'm not sure what they're going to be able to do for those outside barriers though, because I'd suggest that Willow Heart, Lillamore definitely kick up and hold the inside. Look, I'm keen to play Zanaya here. Finished a really good second last time out behind Witherspoon. I thought that was a good performance. Comes in this second up. I think we'll see plenty of improvement. Brendan Abdul in the saddle for Chris Lees. Obviously, that combination's been very good. And Abdul's in good form in the saddle. $6.50 is a very good price bet. Zanaya's second up here. I think she's got a very good chance. So she goes on top for me. Ahead of number 4, Lillamore, who I think will bounce back here. I think it'll be able to find a good speed. Time in the speed. Finished second behind Stella Seasun last time out, who I will give a bit of a clue to. I am keen on later on in the program. So if I've got to be keen on Celsius, I'm going to be keen on a little more to run a good race as well. At $8.50, Glen Boston the sale. I think he'll be able to lead and potentially dictate the terms. And if that's the case, it'll be hard to beat. So she goes in for second. In for third, number 7, Super Oasis, who's got a really good first up, fresh record. 3 starts for 2 wins and a placing. It's just isn't proven on a wet track, which is my only concern. But the recent trial was on a wet track at Rosehill over the 900 metres, and I was impressed with that trial there where it beat Willow Hard, who it meets here. So I think $12 is a nice price about it. And Vardos goes in for fourth, who was really good at first up at Canterbury, being Lancaster Bomber. I was impressed with that performance, but I just think that he's probably a little bit unders at the $3.10, and the market potentially suggests that with him going from 280 out to 310. Now, Switched is the other one who obviously has a good chance. So, like I've mentioned last week, where it finished second to Talier, leading into that race, just a horse that I can't trust to win, and that continues to be the I guess the point with her. She obviously is a very talented horse. She loves the wet track, and as an each way play, she's $1.65 the place. You could go a strong place bet and then go her on the win. She's obviously some of the although it is race number 5, I'm not sure if you'll be able to get especially with one of the bookmakers, of a bonus bet back. But she's very good to back in that type of sense, though, if you can sort of get it. That she can usually run and be in the top 3, so she can run a good race. I haven't got her in my top 4 just because I thought there was a couple others that were worth the mentioning for me at the value. So, yeah, like I said, open race to me. That's why I've gone with a bit of value. I think Zanaya goes on top for me. I think she'll be hard to beat. And number 4, Lillamore in for second. In for third, number 7, Super Oasis, that terrific fresh record. And then for fourth, number 5, Varda. Move on to race number 6 on the program. It's the Tab Long Maybe Play benchmark 78 once again, over 1,500 metres. And look at the speed map here. I'd say Bandersnatch will probably try and roll forward from barrier number 11 from outside, as well as Mercurial Lad. Edison will push up, as well as Knight of Power. They won't want to let Bandersnatch roll across too easily. But I do think Bandersnatch will get there, and I think he'll be hard to beat. I think he's one of the best bets of the program. He's been a hard one to follow. He's been getting so close a couple of times now, but his second last map behind Ballet Master, for me, showed that he's starting to get back into his work again after a couple of disappointing runs to start the preparation. He obviously, I think he can run well here. He finds the lead. He was won here at Rosehill before, which is a good positive, and I think he'll run a good race fourth up here again with Brenton Abdallah in the saddle. So I'm tipping him to have a big day in the saddle. Hopefully ride plenty of winners, get 3 or 4. That'd be perfect, and get all our winners home. None of his other rides. So Bandersnatch goes on top. He's one of my best of the program. I think he's going to be hard to beat. I think this is his race. So he is on top for me, ahead of number 6, Edison, who returned to the winner stalls last week at Randwick and comes into off the back of that of a 7-day backup and beat Papawara on that occasion. I think that was a real good performance, and it's interesting because this horse, obviously that was its first win on a heavy from 4 goes. Comes back to a soft surface, which he does run a lot better on. So I was just he could run a good race once again. $6 and $2 a place, a good price about him. He goes in for second. In for third, number 5, Monegal, who was really good last time out behind Orsian, made some good late ground down the outside. Only just missed on that occasion by half a length. I think she'll improve and run a good race again at the 650. She goes in for second. In for third, sorry. Then in for fourth, number 10, Orsian, who, like I said, I've got to make a mention of, I guess, if I'm going to say Monegal's a chance. Orsian's got to be a good chance beating Monegal last time out. So it goes in for fourth. Other chances of the race, Knight of Power. Obviously, this horse wouldn't surprise if it comes out, runs a good race, been well supported in its last 2 starts and failed. But for me, like I said, it's just been too poor in its 2 runs so far as preparation. If he obviously can improve, and if he runs up to the type of form we know and the ability that he has, he can run a good race. But at this stage, with the way he's performing, I just can't put him into the numbers. So he goes out of my numbers, but he does have a chance. And word for word is another one who's got a good chance as well. But look, pretty keen to go Bandersnatch. Spanish League is one of the best bets of the day, so he goes on top for me. Ahead of number 6, Edison, in for second. In for third, I've got number 5, Monegal. In for fourth, number 10, Orsian. Move on to race number 7. It's the Kia Winter Stakes over 400 metres. The feature race of Rosehill for the day. Look at the speed map here. 11 of them to do battle at this stage. I'd say Takamochi and Rita Profit, Sig and Darabad will be the speed factors in the race. Probably Takamochi and Rita Profit will pair off, and the Gay Waterhouse runners will dictate the terms. So a couple of these real fancy runners will be back in the field, and they probably want to get too far back. One of them for me is Noble Boy, who I've been waiting to run the last couple of weeks, and I'm a little bit concerned because it has been a while between runs now. The last time he ran was on the 13th of June, where he finished third behind True Detective and Trumbull, and But he has had a good trial, took over trial recently. That, of course, was on the 6th. So, what was that, 4 days ago? So, he looked quite sharp there. So, I think he can run well enough. He wasn't really asked to do a lot. And like I mentioned before, the last couple of times I've been counting him, especially last week. He loves the soft tracks. Have 2 starts for 2 placings, so he gets on that surface here tomorrow, and I just think he'll run a good race. $5. He's been pretty well supported as well, in from 6, so he's nice and firm in the betting, which we like to see. I think he can just has a bit on these, and he can run well here, fourth up. So he goes on top for me. I have number 4, Trumbull, who finally got his much deserved win last start. He has been getting so close. He was well backed on so many occasions. So for punters who stuck with him, well done. Obviously, he got the chocolates for you last time. I didn't have him. I ran out of patience with him. But look, he's very good on a soft surface. Similar to Noble Boy, he'll run a really good race as well. I think he can get a perfect trail in the race as well. He'll probably be sitting about midfield or a couple of pairs back from the lead. I think he can run into it nicely. Look, I've got to give one of these speed horses a chance, and the one that I'm pretty keen to go with is a Rita Profit, who hasn't run well for the last couple of starts. Obviously, won it both at Eagle Farm and Doomben, but the recent trial was good at Randwick. I was impressed with that. But look, it is a horse that she generally trials pretty good, but she's not really well suited on a wet surface. She's only had 2 starts for no placings on a soft track, but just think if she's able to lead, dictate the terms, she might be able to give a good enough kick to see her finish in the top 3. So she goes in for third for me. And then Ever Fourth, look, I think that Order Again can run well as well. He was quite good last time out, finishing second to Trumbull. So, like I said, if Trumbull's going to go on my numbers, I think I've got to put Order Again in, who's decent enough price at $6. But look, I'm pretty keen on number 8, Noble Boy here. I think he's the one to beat. Head of number 4, Trumbull in for second. In for third, number 9, Romany Girl. Ready to Profit. Then in for fourth, number 3, Order Again. Other good chance in the race, Sikandarabet, obviously at his best, he can win a race like this. He just hasn't been in form. That's been the only issue with him so far. But he comes in now with Sam Kavanagh. Potentially, maybe the stable change might switch him back on again. So $26 bet him, probably a bit of overs, especially if he runs a good race like we know he can. Girl Tuesday, like I said, her ability, she seems to not be up to it anymore. But like I said, if she can put it together now with Clary Connors, she could potentially run well enough, but not willing to have her in the numbers either. But Deal Maker's the one that I probably left out that I could have put in. I think he's running really well at the moment. I think he can run a good race as well at the $6. But look, very keen on number 8, Noble Boy, in race number 7, the Kia Winter Stakes. Move on to race number 8 now. It's the Iron Jack benchmark, 88 over 1,200 metres. 12 horses in this race here. Look at the speed map. I'd say Embracer will find the top with You Make Me Smile. Prime candidate. Might be up there challenging, as well as Oakfield Twilight as well. And Albumin might be up there as well. Now, look, this is a race where I thought it was quite open, so I wanted to play a little bit wide. I thought Cordia was really good on first up at winning at Rosehill. I was impressed that win. I'm going to go with a bit of value here, and I think Embrace is going to be the one, if it's able to lead, dictate the terms, which it's just probably could do with Prime Candidate maybe pouring a little bit of pressure on. But I really like that third last map behind Rahiran and Sambar. I think that's the right form to bring to this race. Obviously beat Sambar again. If we have a look at the weights, Embrace has gone up 3 from that last start performance, while Sambar's gone up 3.5. So Embrace gets a slight weight swing, but the thing for me that works really nicely is it comes into its second up, which, look, obviously he has run well second up before. So I think if he's able to dictate terms, he can run well, and he goes on top for me. Head number 4, Albumin, who I think could really run a good race here at $27. He was specced a bit last time out at Flemington behind I Am Someone and Brazado, and I thought he ran okay there. He was only beaten by 2 lengths, and obviously they set it up for a couple of those back marks to come flying through the race. So the fact that of the speed runners, he did stick on and run well enough. That was good enough for me. And he's very good at Rosehill. He's 11 starts for 5 wins here at Rosehill, and at the track and distance, he's had 2 starts for a win. So he can potentially run a good race at $27. So he goes in for second. In for third, number 11, Cordia, who, like I mentioned, was in terrific form towards the start of his race career, and then came back first up a couple of weeks ago and won really nice at Rosehill here. So I think he can run a good race once again. He is right down the bottom of the weights. Tommy Bear in the saddle, so I think will run it well as well. And in for fourth, number 9, You Make Me Smile, who also wouldn't be surprised who runs a good race. Very good second up form, 4 starts for 3 wins, and is proven on a wet track as well. So You Make Me Smile can definitely run a good race and bounce back off that last start 6th. But Recap the numbers for me. Look, I'm keen on number 2, Bracer on top, ahead of number 4, Albumin for second. In for third, I've got number 11, Cordian. In for fourth, number 9, You Make Me Smile. Like I said, there's plenty of value in this race, and I was willing to play quite wide. Prime Candidate's another one who's got really good second up form and finished fourth last time out behind Rahir and Samba and Embracer. So similar form lines there. Prime Candidate could be a good chance to bounce back second up. And Sandbar's the other one, obviously, as well. 21-1 about a horse that did beat Embracer and Prime Candidate home. Seems a bit of overs for me, so you've got to give it a bit of a mention. True Detective, obviously, has found its winning form again, winning its last 2 starts. Can probably run well enough again, but for me, obviously, the soft track form is a little bit of a concern, and I just think maybe it's come towards the end of his preparation. I just found a few others that were in better value. Move on to race number 9 in the program. Final race of the card, Rosehill Bowling Club, benchmark 78 over 1200 metres. Look at the speed map here. I'd say Partners. He's a hot shot off the inside barrel. Will be probably the 2 leaders in the race. Chara, Slow Burn, and Malia Magic will probably roll forward and sit just off the pace. But I do see he's a hot shot, and Partners pairing off to find the front. Look, I'm going to go with Stella Seasun here once. I missed out on it last time out. I just couldn't go with her again. But she was really good, and she bounced back and won well, beating Littlemore on that occasion. Like I said, I think Littlemore can run a good race early on in the program, so we'll get a bit of a guide into how good that form line is. Look, she's very good on a wet surface, and it's as simple as that. She's had 4 starts on a soft track for 2 wins and a placing, 4 starts on heavy for 2 wins and a placing. So while we get that track again, I think she's got a good chance, and it was good to see her bounce back and win well last time out. $7, a really good price about a last start winner who won quite nicely. So she goes on top for me. And at number 10, he's a hot shot. I think he could run a good race here. He's comes in this second up. He's not the greatest on a wet surface, so he obviously is looking to get back on top of the ground where he hasn't missed a placing when he's on top of the ground. So if the track does dry out a bit, it'll go into his favour a little bit more, but look, at the first up, he was last at Warwick Farm on a heavy track, so he obviously will want it to dry out. But off barrier number 1, he's going to be able to probably lead the race potentially, although Partners might have something to say about that. But he'll be right up on the pace. Doesn't look to be a lot of pace on paper, so I think with the lack of speed in the race, he might be right in the finish. 13 Partners, very similar. Like I said, was really good winning the higher race last time out. Very much to my oh, lost my words there. Yeah, you guys know what I'm saying. Like basically, yeah, I was very happy to see it go home and win. Obviously, did have it on top for that higher race last start. I think interesting move to bring him here to benchmark 78, but I think with 52 kilos, he can run well enough third up. So he goes in for third. Then for fourth, number 5, Accelerado, who's in decent enough form as well. Last start 5th behind Cordia and Ghostly will read pretty well, especially if Cordia comes out, runs well in the race prior to this one. But recap the numbers for me. Look, I am pretty keen to play number 1, Stella Seasun at the $7. I think it's a real good price. So it goes on top. And number 10, Cheese Hot Shot for second. And for third, number 13, Partners. And for fourth, number 5, Accelerado. Other chance in the race. Do think Malia Magic has a chance. Moto Ditto just doesn't know how to win. That's the only problem with that horse. But besides that, has a good chance. And as a Shatatira as well. But look, I'm pretty keen with my on top selection in Stella Seasun. Now moving on into the best bets of the program. So I'm pretty keen on full meter in race number 2, and so obviously it's race number 2, number 10 full meter at the $2.70 is one of my best bets, and the other one I'm pretty keen on comes in race number 6, number 1 Bandersnatch at the $2.50. So they're probably the 2 that I'm very, very confident on. Other horses in the race, best value plays. I think Academy is a real good chance in race number 4. So I think number 3, Academy, and race number 4 is one of my best value plays in the program. $7.50, $2.50 the place, a real good price for me. So it's one of my best value bets of the program. The other one that I'm pretty keen on is Stella Seasun, the final race of the card at the $7. So it's race number 9, number 1, Stella Seasun. So thanks for tuning into this video. Hopefully you can find plenty of winners. Like I said in my last video, and obviously at the start of this one, if you haven't already done so, go check out my Caulfield Sir John Monash Race Day preview and all the tips there. Go and subscribe if you're new down below. Give a like, give a comment on your thoughts. So I look forward to responding to those throughout the day, and then obviously ahead of tomorrow. So like I said, leave your thoughts. Leave any questions as well after the races tomorrow. If you feel free to come back to the video and leave some questions. I'm going to do a race and review video after this one. I apologize I didn't do one during the week. Just didn't quite have the time, but I've freed up my schedule for next week, and I'll definitely be doing that either on Monday or Tuesday. So stay tuned for that one. But like I said, If you haven't already done so as well, go check out my social media page, just c.lane_racing tips on Instagram and c.lane racing tips on Facebook. So thank you once again for tuning in. Really appreciate your support, and I appreciate you clicking on and watching these videos. So hopefully we can find plenty of winners. We can reward all the time that you've spent watching these videos if you have done so. I really do appreciate it. Otherwise, take care. Hope you have a great weekend and find plenty of winners. Enjoy the great racing on display as we lead into spring.